We can, and so keep entering your tools, keep entering your questions. I'm really excited for this, and I'm also glad we've got just a great lean forward crew today who's participating. For those who I haven't met yet, maybe came through Jeremiah and his audience or somewhere else, I'm David Berkowitz. I'm the host of the Serial Marketers community, and actually the very newly announced AI Marketers Guild that I'll get into another time, but I want to save way more time to talk about, to hear from Jeremiah. Jay and I actually met first at a Frost and Sullivan event.
Oh, yes.
It was January 2006.
Wow, you know the date.
I remember because it was the month before I started 360i, and I was actually leaving one job and like not sure even where I'd be a few weeks later. And this opportunity I thought seemed pretty good. Jeremiah and I also, we shared the distinction at that event. There were four of us on that panel, along with Ted Murphy and Avinash Kaushik, back when all male panels were a little too common. And we were being like the weird digital people. We were all invited to do like the closing panel for the day, and there were literally more of us on stage than there were in the audience. And so we had a really fun time talking to each other and not caring who was in the room. It was just but that was also the place of digital back then, and like going from Web 1 to Web 2, and then been with Jay on quite a few journeys. So I want to talk as little as possible. This is, I call the series the Serial Marketers Salons. I want to make sure that you chime in, so chime in freely in the chat. Be sure if you got something to say it. We'll Jay's going to present some things. We're going to learn a ton, and then but definitely want to make this interactive and just make this a great use of your time. So Jeremiah, who the heck are you?
Thank you so much for having me, everybody. I know some of the folks in the room, but maybe just a quick introduction. I love digital technologies. In fact, I have a career mission. My career mission, and I figured this out when I was 28, almost 20 years ago. How do companies connect to their customers with new technologies? Companies connect to their customers with new technologies. And that is my mission for my career. That's what I'm passionate about. And I've gone through many tech trends, Web 1, Web 2, sharing economy, Web 3, and now here we are in AI. So I've been a speaker. In 2017, I did a TED Talk for BMW on autonomous vehicles. And I put out a rather provocative TED Talk on what happens when cars become alive. By the way, the answer is they, quote, reproduce because they purchase other cars. And you should have seen the look on the executives' faces across the car companies. They're like, whoa. And I worked at Forrester. I was also co-founder at Altimeter Group, Crowd Companies. One of the Crowd Companies members here is Shiv Singh. Way back when we were focused on the sharing economy, I was a writer for the Wall Street Accelerator blog. I was quoted in Time as one of the top Twitter accounts to follow. And now I'm involved with Blitzscaling Ventures, focused on the AI fund. Yes, this is a real background behind me. It's not digital. Both David and Martin have been in here. This is the tiny Airstream studios in my backyard. No, I don't take it on trips. Yes, it is a business expense. And I also do in my personal time, I love to do physical challenges, which is the opposite of AI. I get out there and I do obstacle course racing, like Spartan Super, jumping over fire. That is not AI generated. So let's talk about the opportunity, if not threat. We're here to talk about the fears and the hopes of AI. We're going to cover all of those things. And if you are a marketer and you're leaning into this space, you're going to be fine. If you're here today to learn about AI and marketing, you're going to be fine because you're leaning in before the rest of the marketers are. You are all going to be wonderful at adopting these technologies. Now, Reid Hoffman, who is one of the lead investors in the space and somebody who I had dinner with about a month ago, He said there's going to be multiple trillion-dollar companies that are being built and invested in now, and it's going to change the markets and the world. Now, there's a term that's being used in the space is called a double exponential curve. You've heard of exponential curves. So somebody decided to create more jargon and call it a double exponential curve, where an exponential curve tends to look like this if you follow my fingers, right? Kind of this curve. This is something else. A double exponential curve looks like this. It's flat, and then all of a sudden, boom, hockey stick out of nowhere. And because cloud is in place, mobile, big data has happened, apps, social, all of the foundation and the infrastructure has been in place. By the way, AI is not new. AI has been around for decades, but this latest round with generative AI has this. I can't even call this a hockey stick. It's a chopstick. Let's call it a chopstick. It's not a hockey stick. Chat GPT adoption. They had 1 million adopters of users within 5 days. We haven't seen anything like that before at that level globally. And as you know, OpenAI is partnered deeply with Microsoft, and it's now being integrated within 365 and beyond. All right, so that's setting up the opportunity. What's the big trend here? And I'm referencing my friend Chris Ye and partner who wrote the book Blitzscaling with Reid Hoffman, where Chris sees this akin to the Industrial Revolution, where we traded in muscle power, mechanical power for steam power. And that caused significant impacts to society, the market, business, and commerce when we could rapidly produce things at scale. Now, today, the AI revolution is similar, where now we are trading in brain power with compute power. So that's the big trend. That's the tweetable. And I hope you do tweet today. We're trading in brain power for compute power at the same level that we did with the Industrial Revolution. That's the big change. All right. So in our agenda today, I'm going to walk you through the AI tech stack. My background as an industry analyst is looking at the whole space, and I like to put things into frameworks, into boxes. By the way, my sock drawer is a mess, so I don't do this in my personal life, but for industries, I love to organize things. And then after that, I'll show you some examples of tools that marketers are using. And then I'm going to pose 5 damning questions to you. 5 damning questions. All right. And then we'll have a conversation. Then I will be quiet and David will take over the conversation. All right. So before that, I just want to talk about how I'm connected to the AI space. I was a Web3 CMO. I was laid off a few months ago, and it was a blessing. For anybody here that's been laid off recently, it is a blessing. Now you can move into something that you're passionate about. And the AI market was calling me. So I started to go to 3 AI events per week in San Francisco. And then I started to host my own. So now I host the Llama Lounge. The Llama Lounge is a monthly event where 10 different startups get to demo. And it's hosted in San Francisco, and you can see each of them have their demo tables. Look for Shiv and Martin. They might be in these pictures. And we have speakers right here. And so Ben Parr, who is an AI entrepreneur, came in. I did not want him to stand on the table, by the way. The reason I had my hands up wasn't because I was joyous. I was worried he was going to fall. And he gave a keynote presentation on the future of AI. Everybody was having fun except this person. I wasn't sure, she wasn't having it, but we had fun just the same. And entrepreneurs come in, AI companies come in. 50% of the attendees are AI founders and entrepreneurs. And here's some of the startups that I'm interacting with. They're submitting to a form and they're asking to demo. So the point I'm trying to make here is like, I feel I am hyper connected to the AI scene here in Silicon Valley. I'm not only attending events 3 per week, I'm also hosting them as well. And yes, the llamas do come. All right, let's go through the AI technology stack. And this is also my pinned tweet if you wanted to access it later. At the very bottom layer is the data layer. And this is the most important one. In fact, it threads up and down through this whole technology stack. So we're going to do a layered cake here. And you've heard of obviously public data, and GPT-4 is trained off mostly public data. Fun fact, if you took all of the data from GPT-4 in its training data, which is text-based data, and you compressed it, it's only 1 terabyte of data. It would fit on your phone. 1 terabyte of data. It's actually not that much text-based data. The world's known information in public across multiple languages. That's kind of shocking, right? By the way, imagine sending that data with a pre-trained AI in a phone to North Korea. It could literally change their culture within a week. Here's another important data point is that 80% of the world's data is behind the firewall. It's within companies. For you that are marketers, brand marketers, most of the data is there. And we have to be realistic that marketers and brands, they don't necessarily want to send their information over to Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, and Facebook, and Apple. We've done that before, and we got burned. So the opportunities now could be within the enterprise launching their own AI models. We'll come back to that in a second. And there's a new type of data, this third type, synthetic data. I'm sorry. These are different types. Sorry, there's public, proprietary. Second new topic, there's now synthetic data, which is data created by AI. So synthetic data is a new classification of data, and you actually have to organize it differently. As you know, it may be filled with inaccuracies called hallucinations. I expect to see a new type of data emerge called proof of fact in order to solve that issue with hallucinations and errors, where there might be a public record of facts. So this could be something I think the blockchain industry could solve. So we would reference, there's a set of information that is generally agreed upon, objective data, like facts, data, science, information, dates. Okay, let's go up the stack. The next one is AI infrastructure. The hot category right now is called machine learning operations, also known as ML ops. But that doesn't really tell you much. So I wanted to break it into these pieces. This could be cloud, such as cloud computing, software management, optimization, security, repositories where the open source information is located. The most popular one, you probably heard of GitHub, but there's another one for the AI space called Hugging Face. I didn't make up the name. Hugging Face is the most popular AI open source repository. And then there's hardware, data centers, and energy. By the way, I turn to Martin when I need to learn about data centers and processors. So just a couple of facts that I've learned here is that the wait time right now for processing chips for the AI space is 70 weeks. 70 weeks. And those that when they finally arrive, they're already purchased by Google, Amazon, or Microsoft. That's incredible. By the way, Taiwan creates 90% of the chips. So you're going to see political movements and warships moving around Taiwan because whoever creates the AGI, artificial general intelligence, is generally thought to rule the world. Who's creating the chips for the AGI? Taiwan. So who's fighting over Taiwan? Well, it's another topic we can have in another chat. But understand that the AI movement is going to trigger global, national politics, and potentially other big things. It's quite serious. And of course, the energy needed. Martin has told me that the cost to cooling these data centers is quite expensive. So go talk to Martin if you have questions in that space. Let's go up the stack here. The next one is the foundational models and the AI models. This is something you're probably familiar with. In fact, many of you said that you're using ChatGPT-4 or Bard, or you're maybe going to use Titan, which is the one that Amazon is going to launch. Apple's retooling Siri, and apparently in 3 years, we'll see a new version of Siri emerge. So these are all called AI foundational models. The ones I just mentioned are proprietary models. There's also open source models. You can go to Hugging Face, the open source repository, and find over 20 different open source AI models. And so many companies will take those open source models, bring them into their company, and train it on their existing data, maybe it's customer data, and create their own AI, large language model, that they can put on the website, rather than relying on OpenAI. So there's a strategy here for marketers and your IT department. Do you join GPT, Bard, and Titan, Amazon, or do you build your own inside of your own company? That's a question you need to answer. You must answer this question. Do you join or do you build? By the way, the answer is you do both. At the top, this is where we see most of the apps. And David, drop in this link, please. There's an AIforthat.com. There's an AIforthat.com. And there's over 5,000 AI projects. Notice I don't call them companies. because they're not all companies. Some of them are being done on the side, and they come in flavors of consumer, enterprise, across different industries, different departments. We can cut them every possible way. So we remember that website. There's an app for that. Now there's a website called there's an AI for that. When I started to look at this website in April, there was 3,000 projects. So there's 5,000 now. So I think I did the math. By December, we should see 22,000 AI projects. If this rate, constant rate, which I think it'll be greater than that. Why? Because the last category, the emerging tech category in the AI technology stack, is this one, autonomous agents. Yeah, I guess we could talk about the matrix because it's tied to that. I didn't dub this agents. This is a term that's being used in the industry. Autonomous agents act on their own with very little human supervision. You give it one prompt. Let's say David and I are going to book a trip to Hawaii to hang out together and go golfing. I don't know if you golf, but you're golfing now with me. And we would tell the AI agent to book the trip, and it would research, where's David? What flights does he need to do? Which hotels that we need to do? Where are the golf links that we need to go to? How do we book? What's the weather? What to do? It would generate a list of tasks. Then it would create its own individual agents, and it would go off and solve those tasks until they're done without David and I having to do much. You can test this out. Go to a website, David, drop in the link, please, called Agent GPT. Agent GPT. And you can try that out after today's session. All right. So here we are. This is the AI technology stack, bringing it all together. And this is the latest version. I just published it this week. This latest version, I received feedback from Stanford AI professor, also from AWS, and from other experts in the space. I received criticism. It's very business centric, but that's who I'm talking to. An AI scientist would not build it this way. They would build it much more technical. But I wanted to make sure that business leaders like yourselves could really understand the space. All right, let's do a tour. I'm going to show you some of the tools that I experiment with. And I have a personal goal. I told you I go to 3 AI events per week. By the way, online events count. So this one technically counts. But I also try out 1 new AI tool per week. I don't adopt or keep all of them. It's many of them are very young, but this one is called writer.com. They're doing heavy marketing and advertising in the San Francisco Bay Area. And basically it is built, as I understand it, it's built on top of GPT-4. So it's an API plugin, and it provides teams, and I mean teams by multiple marketers collaborating. So they built a social layer on top of the content generator, text-based content generator. And you can even have your agency partners work together and generate content within the brand voice. Pretty cool, right? So it comes with templates. You can see some of the default templates, like create blog headlines, or create a blog post outline, or create a blog post, or create a case study. And what I think is interesting about these tools, and this is an opportunity for brand marketers and also agency partners, is to build a set of prompts that actually defines what the brand voice is. And so whoever needs to generate content quickly can, and it's still within the right voice. And you could be very specific, even down to how the product name is spelled or the punctuation. All right, so that's one. Writer.com enables a collaborative level with templates and ways you can have your brand voice for a collaborative content generation. Writer.com. This one is fun, AugiX. So this is by Jeremy Tillman, who I've known for a long time. And basically you put in a prompt, and a text-based prompt, and it creates a video. Let me see if I can play it. Do you see that? Do you see the tweet coming up, David? Or anybody? Just text back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I created this video with AugiX, and I typed in with my keyboard, create a step-by-step guide on how to make pancakes. Explain like I'm a 10-year-old. Now, I don't know if you're going to hear this. Can you hear it?
No.
Okay. So this is, I can't really do a good job, but let me just drop this in. Why don't you guys just take 5 seconds to click on that tweet and just listen really quick. Go ahead and go over there. I'll pause for like 10 seconds.
Sugar, salt, eggs, milk, butter in a bowl.
There you go.
2. Put 1 cup of flour into the bowl. 3. Add 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1 tablespoon of sugar to the bowl. 4. Add a pinch of salt to the bowl. 5.
That's probably good enough.
Bowl and
Thank
mix
you. All right. So basically it created all of that content. It created those ingredients and the lists and the steps using Chat GPT-4. And then I got to select the voice. There's tools out there you can plug in. One is called 11 Labs. They have voices. And then it selected images. I didn't do any of that. Marketers, it means that you can create a video of questionable quality, let's be honest, within 5 seconds. And you can upload it to YouTube. You can create the video probably faster than you can get it across all your social media accounts to publish it. It also means your customers can create content too. That's amazing. So that's August X Labs. Another one I tried, they came to the Llama Lounge and I met them, is called Thoth. I don't know what that means. But essentially you put in a text prompt. I'm sorry, no, you don't put in a text prompt. You put in a PDF, a text-based PDF. So do you have white papers? Have you created case studies? Do you have blog posts? Just raw text, long form text, and you upload it into Thoth and it will auto-generate this infographic. David, I think you tried this out, didn't you?
Yeah, I actually just used it to illustrate an article on LinkedIn. I could pop the.
And what did
in.
you think? I saw you post about it.
Yeah, it's a little limiting right now, and takes some manipulation to get the text right, and then the styles are pretty limited. But it's a really good start. You see just how fast all this stuff's changing. Like for a good I'd say it's more alpha than beta right now, but it's a start.
So let's back up. So imagine your team is using writer.com. You create a blog post or you create a sequence of blog posts. Then you can also eventually, this is called multimodal strategy, multimodal AI marketing strategy. You can also then say, all right, now go create a video. All right, now go create an infographic in under 30 minutes. I didn't say it was good quality, by the way. I just said you could do that. I can do that today. I could pump out campaigns. All right, let's shift to biz dev and talk about more aligned to B2B. And SOAR and the CEO is Paul Allen, who is the founder of Ancestry.com, brilliant entrepreneur. He created SOAR, which it's a AI that connects to your Zoom meetings or any video meetings with the focus on, B2B and biz dev. And it records your videos and it analyzes. I did a meeting with him and it sent us a report after, and it said Jeremiah was engaged 30% of the time. 20% of the time he was typing. His body language showed he was interested 20% of the time. And it also rendered, of course, audio to text, which is, we've seen that with Firefly and Otter. And it's just using these tools to help you understand how your sales team or your biz dev team might be using these tools and how well and effectively they're engaging. So imagine as a marketer, you could get back a report as your sales and marketing team, biz dev team, and growth teams talk to prospects. You can see which sentences and lines and pitch statements and positioning statements have the most attention from the prospective viewer and which ones are failing. You can analyze the body language, even when you're not there, of the audience who's receiving the messages. That's pretty wild.
That's creepy.
Is it creepy or efficient or both? Now, my last example is Successforce. It is a Stanford entrepreneur who is in the right circles in the Bay Area. And Successforce, I received a demo, but there's nothing on the website to show. So you can go sign up. But essentially, the vision that the founder put forth is that account development reps, ADRs, ADMs, account development management, we only need 1 out of 10 people to be doing that because it should be automated. And now to remind you what the goal of this is, it's from marketing to sales, it's about getting prospects to agree to an in-person Zoom meeting. And so what do? You hit them with email, you hit them with social, you hit them with text message. All of that can and will be automated. So you only need one person out of 10 doing that. Typically, this is a junior role that is done, reporting into inside sales or into biz dev or growth marketing. But now this will be autonomous agents probably within a year from now. All right. The next example I want to show you is called Pi. And this is started by Google DeepMind founder Mustafa and Reid Hoffman, who I quoted earlier. Note, I do have financial ties with Reid Hoffman, just to be transparent. But you can try Hey Pi. Dave, you could drop that link in later for folks. And basically, it is a personal AI. ChatGPT 4 and Bard are more like task-driven AIs, but now we're going to see a class of personal AIs. Now, why am I bringing this to a bunch of marketers, many who are B2B? It's because I believe, and I know for a fact, that consumers and customers are going to use this to make decisions for their products, decisions, and what they're going to buy. This morning, I just did the screenshot. It says, hey there, great to meet you. I'm Pi, your personal AI. I'm doing great. I need to buy a car for my family of 4, and we want to go off-road. Oh, that's great. Here's some suggestions. I didn't prompt this. Toyota 4Runner came up. Now, why did Toyota 4Runner came up? Did it get information from SEO? Did it get information from consumer reports? I don't know. We don't know. We don't know if SEO influenced this at all. And I said, the Jeep. The Jeep Wrangler is a popular choice. It comes 2-door, 4-door. Would you want to used or new? I said new. Great. There's lots of options. And then it got even further into suggesting this. Marketers. This is an extreme disruption. It means this entire sales process is not going to happen on your traditional marketing channels. It's going to happen in an AI. This is a disruption. The way you sell, the way you do marketing is changing. It's going to happen in the AI. All right. So today we're here to talk about the fears, the hopes, the promises, the scary things. And I hope I did a little bit of all of those things, but I just wanted to reiterate, if you're here and you're part of David's community, serial marketers, you're going to be just fine because you're leaning in as early adopters. So I'm going to leave you with 5 questions, and then David's going to take over. Here's 5 damning questions for marketers in the era of AI. What role, and I'm going to talk about roles here because it suggests a shift in power. What role do marketers and agencies play when the cost of producing average and sometimes good content falls to 0 cost? What role do marketers play when customers can readily create multimodal text, image, video, audio, on-demand content with detailed content to meet their needs without you in the room? Number 3, what role do marketers and agencies play when the web content from your website and your email marketing is indexed and ingested and served up by AI without following traditional SEM or SEO? Is your go-to-market relevant? Number 4, when content consumption, like we don't know who's creating this content, where did it come from? There's going to be many lawsuits against the image generators now. Or when brands or the consumers create hallucinations, what role do we play? Not all of this content can be trusted. And lastly, when AI provides buying recommendations to consumers and buyers, B2C or B2B, it doesn't matter. We're going to see it in both categories, and incorporates commerce directly into the AI app. Basically, awareness, not awareness, maybe awareness. So evaluation, decision-making, and purchase, or intent and purchase could happen in the AI app. What role do you as a marketer play? David, I turn it over to you.
I'm just trying to process all this because I tweet this and I'm like even for my own benefit, I'm just bookmarking this and saving the screenshot because I feel like the more I learn about this, the more it's just it's so great we're all coming together just to try to even
Well, thank
approach
you.
some of these answers. So thank you for sharing a lot of new ideas, but also a lot of very, very important questions with us. I mean, what I'd really like to do sooner rather than later, especially since we have a really sizable crowd here, and thanks everyone. This is I'm pretty sure this is our most popular virtual event of the year so far. And but what questions do you have for Jeremiah? You can come off mute and chime in. Feel free to put something in chat. BL, I think you had one. Oh, Anne Marie. Let's go with Anne Marie, since you're so kind to raise your hand, and then we'll just keep it going.
So I've been working in efficiency for a few years where, I'm using things like Zapier, to automate marketing. But I recently had an agency reach out to me and ask me to help them develop AI products for their workflow that they can then repurpose for their own clients. And I was like, boom, wow, I love that an agency is even this forward thinking. But it forced me to rethink as a marketer, how do I structure my services? So, normally I would do something like a roadmap where I'd ask them a bunch of questions and, figure out what are the needs that they have from a creative standpoint. How do you structure working with, companies in a B2B sense? Is it the right way for me to say, okay, let's do a roadmap, let's do a discovery, let's figure out, what problems we want to solve within the workflow, and then come back with recommendations? Because I need to kind of rethink, okay, how do I approach this from as a marketer, and answering what their needs might be.
It's going to be role specific, Anne Marie, and it's a great question. I think everybody's going to approach this in a different way. I think that the business goals of reaching customers that doesn't change, but I don't think we know all the answers. So a number of marketers went to the Brand X conference in New York, and they said that the common topic was the marketers and the speakers don't know. They just don't have the solutions. It's really not known. And I'm speaking to CMOs of companies that are working in the space, and we don't have all the answers. So we're all exploring. I wish I had by the way, I see CEOs of agencies here. I see Top GPT. I see David Brody, who runs an agency. I see Marcus Nelson, who wrote a GPT book that's top selling. The people that have the smarts are here, but we're all looking at this from different parts of the industry. I don't think anybody really knows the answers, Anne Marie. That's why I put forth questions, because I'm not brave enough to give you answers. Mm-hmm. I'm not smart enough to give you the answers.
That's fair. Thank you.
Abdul, I see you have your hand raised. Chime in, please.
Hey, thank you so much for putting this talk together. A few questions. One, I'd love to, I missed the first 10, 15 minutes, but I'd love to catch a recording if possible. So I'm building an AI product, and one question that I have for people in different industries, and marketing is a very special one, is, are you looking for, when you're using GPT or some of these large language models, are you looking to get it to create good content, or are you looking for it to help you brainstorm and generate ideas that you can run with? Or is it a combination of both? So yeah, that's my one big question to ask. And maybe even ask to the room if people have been using it and want to sort of pitch in as to how they're using it. That'd be great to understand as well. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm an avid consumer of this, and I apply a lot of these tools into client work. I mean, I think that finished products like where we're getting toward that endpoint that Jeremiah was talking about is as we start training AI on our own styles, our own voices, our own preferences for images and workflows, right? I'm working on launching a new business right now. Do I want the most streamlined thing, or do I want the most evolved thing that checks a million boxes? And my answer and Anne Marie's answers could be wildly different, but the same tools could help us get there. But right now, if there are definitely some of those things where I'm looking at where I'm like Poe is really actually Pi. I mean, sorry, Pi is really fun to like riff off ideas with and have a conversation and brainstorm. Like sometimes like with Chat GPT, it's like get so close, like just give me the answer already, right? But I think it's a really important distinction to make. And if you're clear with that value proposition, right, like that this is going to help you get to some kind of insight faster, or an insight you haven't delivered, you wouldn't have otherwise gotten to, versus here's the one that's like going to do your homework for you, and we'll get a lot of that too. Setting up those expectations can be so helpful, especially as all of us we all probably just saw like at least 10 things today we haven't seen before. So it's a great distinction. Yeah, thanks for coming, Bill. Jonathan, the hand raising thing's working, so we'll keep it going. So Jonathan, chime right in, please.
Thanks, David. So yeah, it was actually, I just had a question for Jeremiah, which I put in the chat. It's mainly related to events, but I'm just curious because Jeremiah mentioned he attends a lot of AI related events and organizes one of his own. I'm just curious, like, do you find the events you attend, are they well curated, particular type of audience, or they generally tend to be open? I know SF and the Valley tends to skew a certain way. If you were doing something like that in New York, would you do it differently? I'm just curious about that.
That's a great question. So in San Francisco, there's no shortage. So I have 350 people registered for the Llama Lounge event I'm hosting on Thursday. 47% of them are founder or entrepreneur. By the way, many of them are moonlighting. They work at like Google, Amazon, and Facebook, and they're building an AI startup on Mark Zuckerberg's dime. I can tell from their LinkedIn profiles. So we have no shortage of startups. So I put out a form, do you want a demo? And there's 10, 20, 30 folks demoing, applying for 10 spots. So there's no shortage of AI startups in SF. There's 3 AI events per night in San Francisco. There's 21 events, even on the weekend, in San Francisco for AI. I've never seen a boom like this before. Even in Web 2, the sharing economy, and before. This is something else. So next week in New York, David and I are hosting a mixer. You're invited. I did mention that there's an opportunity to demo, but we just didn't get that many startups there. So it's really more of a professional mixer around the topic of AI marketing. So location will determine whether or not you can structure it with startup demos. So it's just not there in New York yet.
Thanks, Jonathan. Got McGrath chiming in.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for this wonderful, get together. I'm really coming at your questions from a point of view of storytelling. I'm more of a marketer that leans towards storytelling, having started off as a writer and a communications person. So the way I see it, I'd like to think that there's value, as human beings and being confronted with AI and AI marketing, I'd like to think that there is going to be value in the ethics around AI and in this idea of creativity as far as human beings are concerned. So I wonder if others can chime in, because my background's not in tech per se. I've worked in the art world with small tech startups and big global nonprofits. So I'd like to think that, we can lean into our humanity, into this idea of ethics and creativity, and challenge this idea that efficiency trumps everything else when it comes to the future of AI and marketing. So it's just really a suggestion that we can all kind of mull over. Thank you.
My general take is the AI tools, because of the way they're designed, produce average content. It's like good. By the way, I'm launching something new, and I've spent thousands of dollars to hire a digital agency. I didn't want the logo or the brand guide to be AI generated. It's not there yet. But I did require the agencies in the RFP creative brief to integrate synthetic designs from AI generated content as part of the process. So I see it as a hybrid opportunity.
I went with Fiverr myself for the AI Marketers Guild. I kept trying to get the AI to work for me and have that kind of logo, and it didn't, no matter how my brief went. But But I did use Namecheap's AI generator, which get which is like about like the 0.1 scale of AI. Like, you know, some of them, when you need something workhorse, just get it out there quick and dirty, like good, like MVP of a product before you're investing thousands of dollars in hiring an agency. It's like you could do enough to get it out. Brett, thanks so much. Great to see you here. J.E., I'm sorry, I don't know if that's your full name or nickname, but please chime in and help me with the pronunciation too.
Yeah, hi. No, it's just a nickname. My company doesn't like me doing things like this, so I'm kind of on
All
the
good.
Fortune 5. My question is to, anybody here who is really on top of, going to all these various AI events, learning about AI, et cetera. What's your cadence looking like right now? Are you seeing like changes every week, changes every other week, every day? Can you talk to like, just from your impressions as people who are like immersed in really staying on top and learning about this, how fast do you see it changing like right now? I'm just starting to get in and I want to understand how much time I need to spend. I don't want to say, okay, I'm going to like check in every week and then find out, yeah, you missed like 3 big things because you missed 7 days, if you know what I mean.
It's a good question. So I think it's changing every week, and because the big tech companies are doing their announcements in sequence. So Google, Microsoft, yesterday Salesforce, 2 weeks ago Adobe, they all did their sequence of events. This is like the spring time to announce, and so that's why we're seeing that. Things will cool off a little bit during summer, and then in fall we'll see another round of major announcements. But in the meantime, the startups aren't stopping; they're continuing to create. So that's what I'm seeing. I would recommend subscribing to some newsletters in the AI space. Why don't I generate a list and drop it in chat of what I'm looking at? There's a few that I like.
And Jay, any kinds of resources you want to share after, I'll make sure that like at least anyone who registered on any of the platforms will be sure to get these. So if you're in, if you're in serial marketers or on those newsletters, on the Meetup, the Luma, trying to be everywhere now. But thanks for popping any of those in the chat, Jay. Victoria and then Beth. So Victoria, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for putting this together. This is amazing. I have a question regarding SEO, because everybody is saying that SEO is dead and we're moving towards LLM, large language model optimization. So I was going to write a thread. I'm doing research how to, appear in ChatGPT's answers. I was wondering if you have some hints, some knowledge about that, like how that would be possible.
I don't fully know yet. So here's the crux. So GPT-4 was trained on data that's rather old, from over a year ago, and so it doesn't have real-time information. So likely they scraped and indexed the web, with your permission or not. They scraped your corporate website, and so they have that information. So anything that's changed since that data is outdated. However, they have said that they will have the ability for real-time indexing, which threatens Google's model, of course. And this is why Google has claimed red alert, and they need to launch their products like Bard. In particular, Bard has some real-time data, such as weather, that they can pull in a real-time basis. So we might see traditional SEO matter, but I think instead what we'll see is APIs. So this means that your company might need to create an API that will connect to different AIs so it can update it in real time, or you put the GPT or Bard plugin on your website to integrate those things together. So it's not quite clear how that's going to to change, but for sure, we're going to have to do some technical changes.
Thank you. And regarding newsletters, there are so many newsletters. Rundown, one of the best. Ben's Bites, I think, another one. And I did Hustle GPT recently, and I put together all the resources on everything, AI for marketing. It's a free thing that I put together. If you are okay with that, I can put in a link below. It's the free version. It's not the paid version. I did create something paid as well with the free version.
No,
It's
I mean, everyone Victoria, please do so. Tony Winders has an event on Thursday. Like Tony dropped the link in. Like, look, we're all here to learn from each other. So the self promo rule isn't as tight here. If it's going to help all of us make sense of this, please just pop in your own newsletters, your own events, tools, whatever you like. Beth, go for it.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having this conversation and doing this event. I just had a question about where are the conversations happening about the legal side of AI? We obviously know there's some copyright questions about like DALL-E and using artist images and that inspiration and that side of things. But so I appreciate that we don't have answers right now, but where is that being discussed for copyright, data protection, liability, for like misinformation if AI starts running away with it. I feel like we all are aware of the legal side of this, but just wondering where are people starting to try and get some answers around this, and where do we all stand by using this technology?
Any thoughts?
A $1 million question, maybe.
I'm not the expert there, so I defer to others in the chat.
Cool.
Yeah, well, thanks, Beth, and I appreciate you bringing up some of these items in the chat and live here, just as there are just also, I mean, like Jay, I'm curious, just as we get into things like legal too, but with ethics conversations, right? Like, and especially for that intersection of ethics and business, okay? And that can mean anything from like, respecting copyright issues to respecting each other, and they all fall into this. Are there any great like forums or people or things like that like are really addressing this well, and how much do you also think, and then I'll actually ask a more pointed question, how much do you think those decisions are going to be more on like grassroots level, corporate level, government level? Like, who's going to really step in here?
I don't know as much on the legal safety ethics on data and copyright. But there is an AI safe group that published some things at a broader level, at industry level. So anything as specific as AI ethics for marketer, I haven't seen a body emerge yet. I'm sure there's going to be a group that does that.
Thank you. I appreciate it's a difficult question at this point, but I'm new to this. I'm very much learning as I go. And I saw something just on LinkedIn, cards on the table, didn't read the article, just saw the headline, and it was basically saying, and the founder of OpenAI saying, please regulate me, it needs to happen. So it's just interesting to see that people are recognizing, and this is beyond marketing, obviously, but yeah, just some of the regulation that's needed. And because, as we're all aware, the pace of this, I just wonder when that's actually going to catch up with the pace of this industry. And right now, I'm not sure when that's going to be, because everything is moving so fast. But
well,
yeah,
there are multiple lawsuits from Getty and artists who say that these image generators pre-trained off their IP. So that's already happening. So I would watch for that.
So,
thank you.
And Jeremiah, I want to ask you a question, especially while we have 5 minutes here, because you got me deeper into the Web3 space, and we saw all kinds of highs and lows associated with that. There are also some people out there who are like, oh, there's like it's like this bandwagon, right? Like people are just jumping off Web3 and going into AI. Like, how much do you see them as distinct fields versus intersecting fields. What's your take?
Well, I've done that transition, but that's something I will always do in my career is go to the next technologies. That's what I'm known for, and I'll continue to do that. I don't see Web3 and AI being connected more than maybe 5%. In particular, Web3 is focused on decentralized versus AI looks very centralized, extremely centralized. So, but I do think that when it comes to finding, quote, a new protocol proof of fact, that's where the Web3 industry can really help AI. But other than that, I don't see much there. I mean, the Web3 companies are pivoting to AI because that's where they'll get funding and adoption. But that's it. I see.
Nice. Well, and I definitely want to make time for Jiggy, because Jiggy's iPhone's got to join the conversation. So take it away. Oh, can't hear you yet. And if you're not able to,
Yeah, I hear. Hello, can you hear me?
yeah, now we got you.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm very happy to meet everyone. This is a great conversation. I have a question, and the question is probably really simple but weird. How should we think about this AI technology and everything we discovered? Is it similar to when humans discovered fire? Who will get burned? What villages will get burned? And how should the ordinary guy like myself, now that I can use and play with this fire, how does this change my thinking, my behavior? Like, what? Pretty much, I'm new here. I'm just being born. So help me out. You just gave me fire. What am I doing with this fire? It's so hot in my hands right now.
I love that metaphor. That's exactly right, Jiggy. I actually use that metaphor that it's like fire as well. But yes, you can get burned with it, but humans gathered fire and they're able to cook meat, which cleaned the meat and resulted in humans developing larger brains and having more nutrients. It's a way for power and energy and safety in addition to damage. And I think that's the right metaphor. It's both. It's absolutely both.
So with that being said, all of us in our office, we have fire around us.
Yes.
In a digital, and we have fire around us. So what do we do as a lot of my stuff, I work with youth centers and a lot of things in hip hop and like underworld things. So now that we have this fire around us, what do you do as a safety guard to make sure some of your creations don't get smoke around it? Like when, smoke and breathe in the smoke, or even burning. So what can we do to keep things a little bit more, I don't know what's the right word, what I would say healthy?
Contained, right? We have a fireplace to contain it. So I test the tools. I don't keep them all, and I try to learn where the risks are and what works, and then I adopt what works. So that's my approach. But I tend to lean forward into new technologies. Not everybody's built that way. I understand that. Thank you, Jiggy.
One last question, please.
Jiggy, we got to get to other questions. We got 3 other hands, and we're almost at
Thanks.
time, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep. Martin, go for it, please.
Thanks, everybody. So just a quick question here. No doubt this is absolutely going to be disruptive for us as marketers, small, medium, or enterprise. And my question to you here is maybe for Jeremiah, do you have maybe a slight prediction on how long before, large marketing organizations at Fortune 100 companies have to adapt and actually implement AI tools within their marketing organization before we maybe simply just get left behind? And how fast is that timeline?
That's a great question, Martin. So all of the major enterprise SaaS marketing companies have announced their bit. I don't think HubSpot has really pushed forward yet. So we've heard from Adobe, Salesforce in the last month, Google this last month, and Microsoft, of course, continues. And then Amazon will they're not really pushing on the marketing side as much. So with those four big enterprise players pushing, companies are evaluating, but many IT departments and legal departments are pushing pause. You cannot use this until we know it's safe. And so that's going to take maybe 6 months, 9 months to unwind. So I think maybe by spring to summer 2024, most Fortune 500 marketers will be using the tools. That is a prediction I'll just give very strongly.
Thank you.
Right. Jay, we have time for a couple more questions.
Yeah, we'll maybe take 2 more. I see 2 more hands. Also,
right.
BL has her hand up, by the way.
Let's do Miriam, Steve, and we'll close it out with BL. It's going to start with her, but do a grand finish. So Miriam, please.
So I was interested more in what you said about how Web3 and AI are only really 5% overlapping. Working in the Web3 blockchain space for several years now, I've noticed that a lot of the issues that the Web3 space currently has around like centralization, decentralization is a lot of the blockchains are doing the same things, for one, and two, there's no scalability for storage of transactions and storage of like different file types. But in the case if that were to happen, like what would be the role of AI and Web3 in the future? What would, I guess, that look like?
Yeah, so in that prediction I made on the proof of fact protocol, I imagine a blockchain, or not sure exactly what it would be. It would be a protocol, so it would be above layer 2, where there would be a set of generally agreed upon consensus of facts. And this is an issue we have across the internet. So I see that as an opportunity, that it wouldn't be owned by any single individual. Of course, we'll always debate what is true and what is not, with alternative facts, as a thing. But I think that's the opportunity. Nope, let me just mute him. That's the opportunity I see for the blockchain space. Thanks, Miriam. By the way, I worked in Web3 as full-time CMO for over a year, so I got to see it pretty close up. Steve.
Yeah, my Sherpa there, and so many other fields. Steve, good to see you.
See, I wanted to ask about cybersecurity, because the rate of these apps that are coming out, and how cybersecurity companies need to keep up with all the different kinds of viruses and whatnot. Some hackers put things in these apps.
So I'm not going to claim any type of expertise in that topic, but we do know that this is a major risk, because hackers are going to use AI to try to hack into things. In particular, that's why there's a race to AGI. Whoever can do this can manipulate global markets and hack into any systems. So this is going to be a continual issue. So people, of course, will use AI to fight AI. That's a common trend. I wish I had more detail on that, but I'm more of a marketer. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks,
BL.
Steve. And BL, last question goes to you. So glad you could join us for all this and be part of this reunion.
Well, my question is, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My question is, given the velocity of this, of change, of the fact that every single day there are 100 more things we could be looking at and testing, how are you deciding, what to get further into, and secondly, what's worth paying for?
Thank you, BL. By the way, I was just corrected by Tony that HubSpot did put out on AI a campaign or a product. I haven't looked at it, so I just want to recognize that it's there. I just want to correct something when I don't know something. So I pay for Chat GPT, the $20 a month, and I pay for Midjourney. That's about it. But I am testing, one tool every week, and then those that are great, I'll keep them. But most of them are still very young in the space. So I think it's a personal choice that you'll make. If I was a marketer in an organization, I would look at copy, or I'd look at writer or Jasper, one of those three. Those are the three leaders at this time, as potential, put it on my credit card for the company and expense it.
Yeah, copy.ai also has some great resources. I've loved their prompt newsletter. So scan their blog as well. Definitely one of the best corporate ones. We're past time now. I know.
Thank you, David.
You've been hanging on to catch every word. I'll send recaps. Even if just make sure to follow Jeremiah and I and Luma Van. I'll send one to anyone.
Sorry,
and everyone.
I got to run, guys. I'm late for another
thanks, Jay.
thing.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you so much for being here. Thanks, everyone.
I appreciate everybody. See you next week in New York, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everyone.